Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly. Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to help you and your family cruise a little smarter. And I'd like to welcome back to the show. We were just kind of laughing about it just before we started recording. We thought we would be talking to you a lot sooner than we are. But welcome back to the show, Chris from California. How you doing today, Chris?
It's good to be back. Yeah, March 2nd, when I recorded with you, I got off the Wonder. I thought, well, we'll be sailing again in 6 or 7 months. It won't be that long.
Yeah, Hanawik and I were just joking about it the other night with some friends, and we were like, oh, yeah, like this pandemic thing's starting, and we'll be back to normal in about 2 months or something like that. And here we are, almost a year and a half, 2 years later, it seems like.
Yeah, it's kind of insane.
Yeah. So we are talking to you today. You finally just got back on a Disney cruise. Which cruise did you go on, Chris?
We were on the Fantasy for a 5-night double dip.
5-night double dip. And was it originally a 7-day cruise?
No, it wasn't. This was a booked last year as a 5-night double dip. So
before we jump into talking some specifics, so who all went on this cruise this time?
It was just my wife and I, Lisa.
That's awesome. I love the fact that you guys get the opportunity to, not that I know you love traveling with your kids and stuff like that, but it's nice to be able to just go as a couple too.
It's a lot of fun.
So this is a 5-night on the Fantasy. I listened to a show that you and Wes over the DCL Dude did, and I thought that was a really good show where you kind of compared and contrast. You've been on Royal and Celebrity since you went on Disney.
Correct.
Can you remind everybody which cruise, if they haven't listened to that episode, I highly encourage you to go over and listen to Wes's show with Chris. I don't have the episode number, but it was one of the last ones that just came out. But which sailings did you sail on? Do you remember?
So on the Royal Caribbean, we did a 4-night out of Miami on August 2nd. And on Celebrity, we did a 7-night on September 25th. That was a Western Caribbean.
And you guys did a really good job kind of comparing and contrasting. You kind of did that before you went on Disney, but you've got such a huge background with cruising with Disney that I think that was totally relevant at the time. So I'm kind of curious. We won't go into as much detail as you and Wes did, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of get your thoughts after cruising with Disney as well. So this leaves out of Port Canaveral. You guys fly down to Walt Disney World beforehand, and I was actually down there, and I feel bad that we didn't get a chance to hook up, but can you tell everybody where you stayed?
We were at the Grand Floridian. The cruise left on Saturday, so we landed Thursday night, and we had a full park stay on Friday in the pouring rain all day, and then a dinner at Steakhouse 71, and then onto the cruise on Saturday morning.
I love the Grand Floridian. Is that one of your favorite places to stay?
Yes, we're DVC, and it's actually our home resort in Florida. So that's, ironically enough, we had not been there in 2 years, though. The last couple of trips we took during COVID, we ended up staying at a cabin at the Wilderness Lodge.
Well, not a bad place to turn to. Have you ever stayed at the Poly?
We've stayed in the bungalows one time. I love the Poly. The bungalows are really far out there, and the cabins are far nicer than the bungalows.
Yeah. I just listened to, other podcasts. People talk about the noise from the ships going back and forth. Did that bother you guys at all? Or
it was the worst. And we were there right when they had opened, and it was May, and the Magic Kingdom was open till on the weekend till midnight or 1 in the morning. The ships are going to 2 in the morning with their horns, and then start again at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're very loud.
Well, you guys, I'm sorry it was such a rainy day. You were able to, did you ride Rise and get everything in at the studios?
Yeah, we did everything. We did every indoor ride that day, basically.
What did you think of Mickey and Minnie's?
We've rode it before, and actually this is the first time we had the pre-show, so it's kind of neat to see the pre-show. It's a fun ride.
I don't think we've seen, I went on it with the kids. I'm trying to think of after, so it would have been in COVID time, so we never saw the pre-show, but I think it's a pretty cool ride as well. So I know that you and your wife and family, you and Lisa were huge fans back when Steakhouse 55 was open. You had an opportunity to go to Steakhouse 71. I've heard nothing but good things about it. What were your thoughts on it?
The food was outstanding. It's a more a different atmosphere. It doesn't have the steakhouse feel like Steakhouse 55 has, but everything we had was outstanding. We'll definitely be back.
So I know there's a lot of pictures. So kind of that history of Disney World as you walk in, and then there's the bar. I've eaten there as the Wave. And so they really didn't do it up much as a steakhouse, huh?
No, I think it's kind of, they just changed the furniture basically, I think, and changed the art a little bit. It's pretty, modern. It's not like an old steakhouse, like, with booze and stuff like that.
Right. And the wood paneling and all that type of stuff. Okay. Well, I'm glad you guys had a good dinner there. All right. Well, let's go on to the fantasy. We'll get on board here over at Port Canaveral. I'm sure you guys had just a private transportation taking you over there. Embarkation's a little bit different now. You have to do the safe passage and then do the test. I think everybody's kind of that's listened to our shows and other shows kind of knows how that process went. But did it differ much compared to Royal or Celebrity?
The major difference was we have to test at the port with Disney, where Celebrity, we got to do they mailed you a test and you did it with a proctor online 2 days ahead of time, which I like so much better, because then it's like, if there's a problem, I just don't get on the plane and you're not at the port. And it's, I'll admit that 30, 40 minutes there's a lot of anxiety because, it's like waiting for test results.
Right. Now that seems like a much. I should know that Celebrity's been doing that because Christy's been on a bunch of Celebrity cruises since, and that seems like a much better way as far as, especially for people like you and I that have to travel.
Yeah, I mean, that morning we took the test, we were good to go, because if we didn't pass it, we would just not gone, right? So it's pretty easy. I'm already in Florida now, and now we're at the port, and it's just it was pretty nerve wracking. I think everyone kind of felt the same because we're in the tent there with 30 or 40 other people, and everyone got the results at the same time. It was kind of like when people got a Rise boarding pass, the excitement in the room. Everyone's like, "We're clear to go. Let's get on the ship," So.
Were you okay? So I know that you guys normally sail concierge. Did you guys sail concierge this time?
Yes, we sailed concierge. So we had a 10:30 port arrival time. So we actually got there about 10:25, and I was kind of worried they're going to turn us away. No one ever asked us like anything about port arrival time. We dropped off our luggage and just walked straight to the tent. And there was already quite a few groups of people that already had clear tests coming out. So I'm not quite sure. We actually passed 3 Disney buses on the way. And at first I thought, well, maybe they just keep the buses at the port and they're going to pick up the first group of people. But I think they'd already dropped off people.
Huh. Was there anything different for concierge guests and platinum guests as far as going through that testing process?
No, the only difference was we were told to come at 10:30 or any time after throughout the day before 3:30 or whatever.
So you could come whenever you wanted to.
Yes.
Gotcha. Well, you get back on the fantasy. It's been a long time since you've been on a Disney ship. What was that kind of moment like for you and Lisa as you stepped on board?
I think it was just the excitement when they announced your name and just to see the atrium, to feel like we're home again. We've done these other cruises. We had a great time, but it was something about going back. That was like kind of the end goal as COVID. It's like, when can we sail on Disney again? When can we sail again? And that day finally came for us. So it was awesome.
And this was a very merry cruise, right?
Yes, it was. So we walked in, they take you to the spots to watch Mickey and Minnie. And I'm not even looking at them because the tree's half up. The gingerbread, they're frantically working on it. There's like 10 people hanging all the garland. It's like, my wife's like, I feel the anxiety for these people. I want to go help them hold the thing while they're trying to tie the garland on. They're just working so frantically to try to get it all switched over.
You get the forklift in the lobby. They're putting up the roof on the house and everything. Yeah. What did you think about the Welcome Aboard show? And do you go to, I don't even remember, do you guys go to the sail away party? Was there a difference with that?
We normally don't, since the kids are older, haven't gone to the sail away parties too much. So we didn't miss that. And the Welcome Aboard show, I was literally looking around at all the decoration stuff, kind of more interested in that. And as soon as that was done, the concierge host meets you, and we did our safety drill, went and took the picture of your station. And then we went and did the sit down lunch for concierge guests.
And that's up in the concierge lounge?
Actually, so it used to be, that's one thing that's different. It used to be, but you still could have done it. They used to say, do you want to go to the lounge or do you want to go to lunch? This time they're really just pushing everyone towards the lunch. It was in Royal Court. And so you had a sit down lunch there. As you're eating lunch, the concierge hosts come around, go over what you have planned for the week or whatever. But they did have food in the lounge. We could have went there, but they're really pushing you towards the lunch.
How was it?
It was delicious. I had my muffaletta sandwich, which I haven't had in 20 months. So I was pretty excited. And we weren't even sat down 30 seconds and the waitress comes over and she's like, I know you. And we call her Miss Judy. She's from the Wonder from Palo. And she's been a Wonder server or Palo server for like 20 years, I believe. Kind of neat to see a familiar face immediately.
Yeah, that was the thing that Anawik and I ran into as well. We were up in the adult area by the pool, and we ran into one of the cast members that we met on the fantasy, and he was the one that kind of took care of the whole adult area. And he it amazes me. I do an okay job with like facial recognition, but it amazes me what some of those cast members, how they see so many people and how they recognize people.
Yeah, I was like, how did she, it took me as soon as I looked at her and saw her name tag, I'm like, oh, it's Miss Judy.
Uh-huh.
But otherwise, she had a face mask on, and it's like kind of tough sometimes. And
did you run into any other cast members that you knew on board, or because it seems like they're really mixed around right now?
So they did. So actually, one of our favorite concierge hosts from the Wonder just transferred the Fantasy that day, so he was there. And then another concierge host, Ashley, we've had multiple times on the Dream. And then our favorite concierge host of all time, Andy, who we haven't seen since 2010 on the Wonder.
Oh, wow.
And we've literally, on 2 cruises, we got on the day he got off. We just missed him that close over the years. So it was super excited to see him again. I totally said, God, he got kind of old. And she goes, yeah, so did you. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Well, what a great way to start the cruise, to kind of have, build that connection. And then, just everybody has talked about this, but the cast members are so happy to be back working again, being back on board and seeing guests on board. So it's nice to spend that time with them.
Oh yeah. The concierge hosts would tell us they were going crazy at home. They just could not wait to get back on the ships. It's like they're sitting at home just waiting for the phone call.
Yeah. Their wife and husbands were ready for them to go as probably as well. All right. Well, I guess I got to say, sometimes it feels like with Disney, whether it's the parks or whatever else, you kind of get into this like routine of, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do that, we got to do this. And we weren't really big necessarily, after you see the Sail Away party once or twice, it's kind of like, we never went up there necessarily for the party, but we kind of always like to go up there to watch the ship kind of go. But I got to say, I didn't miss it at all. I kind of like the fact that you could just kind of do whatever you want. And at some point they sound the horn, the ship leaves. And it felt in a weird sort of way, kind of more like relaxing sort of day to us. So
no, I totally understand. We were sitting on our balcony when we sailed away. So
yeah. Well, let's get up to that. You guys sail concierge again this time. What did you guys book? And then let's talk a little bit about the experience in the lounge as well.
So we had the Royal Suite for just the 2 of us, which was really huge for just 2 people, but we loved it.
So you get the 2 of you in just kind of this great suite. What was different about sailing concierge this time now with the COVID kind of maybe restrictions or different rules? What had changed since prior cruising?
The only real difference in the lounge, they had to have like a mini buffet type thing, and they would have someone serving you instead of you being able to go to pick what you want. And then an added bonus, now they have a drink cart that comes around to the rooms at night. Instead of you having to go to the lounge to get, Lisa usually send me to go get a glass of wine or something. They'd bring it to our door every night. The guy would knock on the door and he has a little drink cart and make whatever you want, a glass of wine, mixed drink, beer, whatever. And you just bring it to your room every night. So after the first night, I kind of learned what we liked. So every night at 6:30 was at our door.
Did you tell them, hey, we want it at 6:30, or do you do that on the app as far as like just contact the concierge host?
So the first night he came at 6:30, I think. And I said, this was a perfect time. He goes, I'll see you tomorrow then. And then every night after that, it was always 6:30.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Did the services they provide change at all as far as like getting, a cabana on Castaway Cay, or helping you book any type of, well, you didn't really have any port excursions because you had 2 days at Castaway Cay, but did they offer any other different services?
No, everything else was the same, with shoreside beforehand. The only thing that was different when we did get on board, I did ask for the rainforest room. And I actually had booked a cabana at Serenity Bay, 120 days out. And then seeing people post how busy Serenity Bay was and stuff, I kind of regretted it a little bit. So the first day I'm like, we have this cabana at Serenity Bay, but if there's I know it's a long shot, but if there's any chance we could switch to a family cabana. And then he says, for 1 day or both days? I'm like, well, just for 1 day, but he's like, I could probably do both for you. So we ended up getting Family Beach on both days.
Was that a better switch, you think?
Oh, yes, because when I went for my run in the morning, I was one of the first people off the ship, and I ran all the way down to Serenity Bay, and then it makes that right-hand turn, and there's a path that goes for about 1.5 miles. When I got back, Serenity Bay was full of people, and I got back to the Family Beach, there was like nobody there.
Oh, man.
And so the water and the wind was blowing that morning, and it's pretty windy there, where the Family Beach was a lot calmer.
That's interesting because it's supposed to be windy when we go to Castaway Cay, so that's kind of interesting next week. So you think the wind? Well, I guess it probably depends upon which way the wind's blowing, but maybe it's a little bit more. The Serenity Beach is a little bit more exposed compared to the Family Beach.
The wind was coming straight to Serenity Bay,
okay.
So the Family Beach was more protected because the first day it was pretty windy till about lunchtime. And actually, we didn't get off the ship. They took them 2 times to dock. We didn't get off the ship till 9:30, 9:45. And then the second stop, it was the most gorgeous morning. I'm on our balcony. There's not a drop of wind. We're heading towards Castaway, and just we're making the turn. All of a sudden, the wind picks up, and he had to abort. And we didn't. It took until 9:30 the second time too.
Oh wow, that's
But
gonna
then
be.
the wind stopped immediately after that. So
Yeah, that's the way it is, man. I've come into airports and landed, and it's like blowing like crazy. You land, and then you pull into the gate, and all of a sudden the wind stops. It's like, well, why wasn't it like that just like 5 minutes ago?
yeah, I don't know. And so this was our fourth time to be in Castaway in November. Except for the wind the first morning, it's always the nicest weather, it seems like.
How about the water? You know, being in California, being on the West Coast, the water's always colder out here. Does that bother you guys at all in the winter?
The water, maybe it was a little cooler. It wasn't too bad. I haven't been in the water in California since I was like in high school. So that tells you how cold it is here.
Yeah. You pretty much got to wear a wetsuit a lot of times out here. Well, let's just say with Castaway Cay, did they run the 5K? Do you know?
So no, it was on your own, which I actually was kind of disappointed. But then I realized I ran a more interesting path. I didn't have to do that loop twice. I got to run down that other path. And then you just get your medal afterwards. You go to where the bike rental is, or the concierge has it on the ship, but you can get your medal that way.
Do you sign up at all, or you just go and tell them?
No, it's just on your own kind of honor system, I guess. And
is it that same medal though?
so actually, I have a different medal for the first time, like in 3 or 4 years.
Really?
Yeah.
What was different? Was like, is it still like kind of that rubber? Or?
The rubber part is different on it. I'll post a picture later on my Twitter account. But yeah, it was a different medal.
Okay. Cool. Well, look forward to that. We're going to try and.
So I think I have 4 or 5 of the other ones going back to 2017, and before that, they were like dated every year.
Interesting. Well, what else did you guys do on Castaway Cay? Did they offer anything different as far as the cabanas go, as far as the service or food or anything?
No, everything was exactly the same. We just had cookies too for lunch, and that's all we did was lay on the floats in the water, lay in the hammock, and eat lunch basically, and did nothing else. It was a perfect day. It was just so great to be sitting back there on that beach. It was just like, this is what I've been waiting for 20 months.
Kind of like when you stepped on that ship the first time too. Just like,
yeah.
It's just good to be back. Well, let's go to food, talking about cookies too. And I forgot how big those cookies were. Are you a fan of those?
So yeah, and my wife was not pleased with me. I got 2 cookies and filled up with ice cream in the middle.
I can't remember. Did you tweet a picture of it? Or maybe
I think I just sent it to you a picture. I sent you a message.
I forgot how big those cookies are.
Yeah, so they're massive. They're like 4 inches in diameter.
I know. I showed it to my kids. Alex, our youngest, and he can't wait because he's a huge ice cream fan too. So he's gonna try and pull off what you pulled off with the ice cream between the cookies. So well, let's.
Next time I just got 1 cookie. 2 cookies was a little much.
She's like, you're gonna have to run a 10K to get those 2 cookies and the ice cream. So
yeah.
Let's turn to food then. I know that you guys are big fans of Palo, end up eating at Palo several of the nights. Did you guys go to any of the main restaurants while you're on board this time?
No, for the first time ever, we did not go to one main dining room restaurant because the kids weren't with us. And last time was just Lisa and I, we were on the Wonder and we wanted to go to Tiana's, but we actually had Palo for dinner 5 nights in a row.
Wow. Okay. Before we do that though, thinking about, you've been on all the different ships and everything like that. What would you say besides Palo? What would you say is your top restaurant out of all the different ones? Do you have a favorite?
Probably Tiana's, and then on the Magic.
Oh, Rapunzel's.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Rapunzel's.
Tangled. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Is that because of the shows mostly, or?
I think so, and just the theming of it. It's just something we always enjoy. Otherwise, it's probably Animators. I've never been a big fan of Royal Palace. And Enchanted Garden, I like the avocado ahi appetizer, and that's about it.
I didn't realize Enchanted Garden did anything. I guess it like changes the scenery or something like that as it kind of goes along. Did you know that?
No, I don't remember that. I think I've only eaten 1 meal there one time that I can remember. So.
I mean, we've only been on the Dream and the Fantasy, I guess, once each. And now I'm going to sound really bad. People are like going, I can't believe you guys don't know that. But yeah, it does something with the ceiling or something where it changes. We were always way off in a corner. So
yeah, I don't remember because usually when the kids are with us, if Lisa and I are going to Palo, we'll do it that night so we can go to Animators with the kids. And my daughter always liked Royal Palace. So we'd always miss Enchanted Garden.
Well, let's turn to Palo then. One of your servers back on board at all? Did you recognize anybody?
Yeah. So Miss Judy was, back in Palo in the evening also. So it's nice to see her. And there was another server that we remember from, I don't remember which sailing. So yeah, it was, and actually, and the chef Massimo was there, who we've had, I think, on the Magic and the Wonder. So
like when you go to Palo every night, being concierge, do you pick your time ahead of time or can you kind of just pick whenever you want to go?
So at the 120 days out, I usually just tell them we'd like to go to Palo at 8:30, what they consider the later seating, and it's usually less crowded then too. So I'm not taking a spot away from somebody. I know like at the 6 o'clock, 6:30 seatings are pretty full.
Mhm.
By 8:30, the restaurant, the first night was the busiest actually, is maybe almost full. And then after that, it was not even 3/4 full the whole time or half full.
And coming from the West Coast too, we've got, whenever we go east now, we always do the second seating anyway. So that's like 5:30 is just, or 5 or even 6 is just way too early for us.
It's too early for us. You know, we're at the point in our lives where our kids are older. We're eating dinner at 7 o'clock at home. So 8:30 is not a big stretch for us.
We're like all over the board because usually somebody's got some sports practice and somebody else is doing something else. So it's kind of, we don't even get the family meals these days during the week. So price fix now versus a la carte. Any thoughts on that?
I didn't pay much attention because I have my favorites and I knew what I wanted. So we just did a la carte every night. So, and I think we had dessert the last night. We even told me, no, we're not going to have dessert. And she brought the souffle anyway. We were so full from dinner that we weren't getting, the price fix didn't work for us. And I knew what I wanted. Lisa knew what she wanted. So we kind of just went that way.
Yeah, our server gave us a hard time because we were so full too. We just ordered one of those souffles and she's like, no. You have to have two. Like, no. We could only do one of these. And I think, am I misremembering this, that you had supposedly had one of the best Palo meals ever?
Yeah, I did.
What made it so special?
I had the porterhouse. I'll start off with we had the antipasta, I had the caprese salad, then I had the porterhouse, and the chef made me some polenta to go with it. And it was just unbelievably delicious.
Yeah, I saw a picture of that and it looks pretty amazing. I feel, and I didn't really catch this because I'm not always the sharpest tool in the shed, but Chris from our podcast, Chris Bright, talked about when he went on the Wonder, they went to Palo, that kind of what they're doing now is testing out the side dishes that they're going to have in the steakhouse, the Palo Steakhouse, which is coming to the Wish. What did you think of those? Did you try any of the side dishes? So
I had macaroni and cheese, I believe. And then I'm not even sure if it was a side dish, but I had risotto 2 nights and the polenta 2 nights. I don't know if the risotto is offered as a side dish or not. I'm just like, can you make me some risotto? And they did.
I know they've got like asparagus and mashed potatoes and some other different things like that. I just tried the asparagus on it, but I thought they were really good. So I'm kind of
we had the asparagus one night too. I usually get some kind of green to go with it.
Well, you have to, being a farmer, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a rule.
So are you excited about the Palo becoming a steakhouse on the Wish?
100%.
Because this is like, I think you said something like, this is one of the few times when you get to actually eat meat. Not that you don't eat meat otherwise, but
so at home we usually we mostly chicken, and I'm not supposed to eat meat. So I'm 51 years old, high cholesterol. My wife just cringes when I have steaks 5 nights in a row.
Yeah, we just don't do it at home. We're the kind of the same way. We're either doing chicken or we do a lot of pasta, I guess, with the kids. So.
Yeah, we'll have pasta, chicken. We'll make pizza sometimes or something, and I'll barbecue a lot of chicken and stuff. It's like we go to dinner at least once a week, and that's when I usually have my steak.
Nice. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well. I know being on the other cruise lines, and I know that I think you probably talk about this a little bit too, being on Celebrity and Royal, they generally always have a steakhouse. The Norwegian one that we went to was really good. So I'm excited to see Disney actually kind of focus on that as well. Let's turn to entertainment. Did you guys take in any of the entertainment options on board?
Did not see one show on board at all.
What about a movie?
No, and I wanted to see the Eternal came out, premiered, and it's just the time never worked out. We were just so lazy on this trip. We didn't do much of anything. I mean, it's just we didn't even play bingo, which was the first for us.
Well, when you get a great suite like you do with the deck as well out there, it's a great time to just relax and enjoy yourself. We didn't do much on ours either. I think we went to we didn't even go to any of the adult shows, to be completely honest, that they had. We didn't play bingo. The only thing that we did was we went to the Cadillac Lounge on the Wonder, and they had a piano player there in the evenings, and we listened to her play a couple different times. So,
yeah, it was a complete on the Celebrity Cruise. A little over a month ago, we went to the show 6 out of 7 nights, and this cruise we didn't. It was just very lazy. And Celebrity, the shows would be at 6 and 8, I think. So we'd go to the 8 o'clock show and then had a 9 o'clock dinner reservation every night. So it just kind of worked out perfect.
And I think for those who, like you, and I guess we're becoming that way too, where you've cruised with Disney enough, the shows kind of repeat themselves. So they're not like a draw like when you cruise with somebody else.
100%. Yeah, we've seen, the Golden Mickeys, I don't know how many times. And so it's like, that's why it's fun on Celebrity, because they had all these different shows. It's like, this sounds fun. Let's go check this out.
Right. And I hate to keep going back to like Norwegian or whatever, but they usually have like music all over the ship too. Like they have venues where people are playing different music. And I mean, whenever we can hear live music, we love it. I wish Disney would add a little bit more of that as well.
So that's another thing on Celebrity. They had something called the Martini Bar, which is, I won't call it their atrium. It wasn't quite an atrium, but it was, I think it was the fifth, sixth, and seventh. So the fifth deck is where the Martini Bar was. And they always had live music every night. And then on the sides going up was several of the restaurants, the upscale restaurants. And we really enjoyed it. Then they had another venue that always had music or something going on. That one night my wife saw on their version of the Navigator, which is still paper, that there was like an ABBA sing-along. And she was like super excited to go see that. I was like, really? We got to do this?
Did she sing along or did you?
Yes. And I got to say, that cruise only had 800 people. That was the most I saw anybody together was in that thing for 45 minutes.
That ABBA sing along.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen where they're going to come? They just came out with a new album by any chance?
I just happened to notice like a couple weeks ago, thinking, oh, great.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to date myself. So ABBA made it big in the 70s when we were living over in England, and they won this thing called the European Song Contest with one of their songs. And then my parents were like huge on it. And so I think all of us kind of go through this with your parents, especially back in the day when like they were just the AM or whatever FM radio. You're driving around in the car, you're hearing the same songs over and over and over again. So ABBA was so big back then. So a lot of those songs are stuck in my brain because of that. But I think this is pretty fascinating. So they are going to do a concert in New York where it's going to be like, they're going to play their songs, but what you're going to see is actually like their avatars. So they're wearing like a suit, like have you seen like those video game suits?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, with like the little points on it or something like that. So they're going to be playing the music, but what you're going to see is like their video caricatures of them when they were younger.
Oh.
That's probably way too much ABBA to be talking about on a podcast. But
my wife would be excited.
Yeah, I know, we should have had her on.
Yeah.
Well, how about the fireworks? Did you guys go up and do that for entertainment?
So the fireworks were at 8:30 and 10:30, I believe. And we were in one of the stores at 10:27. I said, we got to go. We're going to miss the fireworks. We walked into our room at 10:32 to watch from our balcony, and all we saw was the residual smoke. They were done.
The very last one.
We missed the whole thing.
Oh, man. And it was just one night, right?
Yeah. And the earlier one, we were in Palo, and we could see the glow of them, but we didn't see anything.
Oh, that's funny. You know, Chris Bright was talking about on his, somebody said, hey, watch when they hit the water and they're bright enough that they'll actually like go down into the water and you can still see them burning. Have you ever seen that?
No. That'd be cool.
I know. That's what I thought. So I'm going to, when we're on the dream, I'm going to try and see if I can find that or be able to see that. All I've got is an iPhone 12, so I don't think I could get a good video of that, but I think that's kind of cool. Okay. Anything else as far as entertainment wise? You didn't see a movie, didn't get any of the rest of stuff.
And, I'm going to go back to the no paper navigators drives me insane because I'm sure there's some stuff we might've tried to do. If I was able to glance at it, usually you get to navigate in your room in the evening. Before I'm going to bed, I kind of look at it, or I'm up at 6:30 in the morning on my balcony, kind of just glancing at it, going, oh, that might be interesting to do today. But to go on the app and try to find stuff to do, it just turned me off to it.
So you run a business, and I know you're on Twitter enough because you comment stuff on Twitter, but I mean, is that kind of a negative to you as far as like when you get on a ship, you just want to turn that phone off?
I do, because there's sometimes I would leave my phone in the room and like we're going to just go eat or something. Mm-hmm. And I just leave my phone in the room. It's like it's charging or whatever. I don't want to deal with it because I'm still at work when I'm on the ships. And so I connect to cellular at sea and I get a lot of phone calls. Like when we're going to brunch, I'm like, I'm not taking my phone with me. I'm just going to leave it in the room. But then, they make you have to have it, which kind of annoys me.
Right.
And I'm not going to say I'm some person that turns off and I leave it in the room the whole time, but there's maybe 20% of the day where I just leave it in the room.
I mean, then the other thing too that I found too is like, I'm used to like getting a check if you buy a drink or something like that, and you can leave a tip, and now you have to do that on the app, but you don't really have to bring the phone with you all the time because you can come back in the evening and just.
Correct. I noticed like one day I left a tip for the server at Castaway, 6:00 at night. It says your tab is going to close within 15 minutes. Then do you want to leave an extra tip? Mm-hmm. But then like at Palo, you sign the check as normal. So it's like, if you're going to go all in, go all in.
Right, exactly. And I don't think you can even go down to the lobby now and get a paper navigator camera.
I asked the concierge and they said there wasn't any.
Nothing, huh?
So that was my one negative, post COVID, but that was going that way before COVID anyway.
Right.
The last cruise we were on, I asked for it and it delivered to my room, but you had to ask.
I was glad to see that we did get all the shopping stuff. I mean, we don't use it, so then we just end up tossing all that stuff anyways. So they used to put a lot of like pamphlets in there.
You used to get so much, all the Palo dinner reservations, the shopping stuff. There was a lot of garbage that didn't need to be there.
So on Celebrity, because you're on a newer ship, did you still have like kind of a key to get into the room, or how did
it was the same thing? It was a key card.
Okay.
And they did it just like Disney and also Royal, which I don't get, leaving the key at your room door. I don't get that. It's like, we'll just hand it to you when you check in.
Right.
So we ran into a problem on Royal. We went to lunch and bought some drinks. They couldn't charge me. They're trying to figure out how to charge me. And they're like, you don't have the drink pack? They assumed I had the drink package. And I'm like, no. And then they're trying to figure something. And I finally, it's like 10 minutes went by. I said, this is our room number. You guys figure it out. We're leaving. And then one server's like, just say you have the drink package.
Can we get the drink package?
And ironically enough, on that sailing, I didn't realize until 3 or 4 days later, every time we went to a specialty dining, they assumed we had the drink package and never charged us for drinks. I think so many people do it. I have no idea. I was like, okay.
You're like the one person in the last like 5 years that didn't get the drink package.
Yeah, apparently.
Oh man, I love it. Or you could have some squatter in your room. Like somebody like me might be like, you get there and I've already checked into your room because the keys are right out there.
Yeah, to me, it was like this. It's just kind of odd. I don't get it. And the other thing we got on this Disney sailing, our room wasn't ready till 2:30, which was really, really late. I was just normally the concierge rooms are ready by 11:30, 12 at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like 2:30, 2:45 before our room was actually ready. And we're on Celebrity, our room was ready by lunchtime, and same thing with Royal. They blamed it on some cleaner they used to sanitize the room. They want the air out for a couple hours or something. So I don't know. I'm glad they cleaned the rooms good, but it was kind of odd that it wasn't ready till so late.
Right. Were you still able to get your Red Bull?
They had it in the refrigerator for me, so I got one when I got to the room.
Okay. So they're still stocking the fridge and everything for you guys.
So I reached out ahead of time, and said, and a lot of people have all these crazy things they want when they're staying concierge. Like, just give me some sugar-free Red Bull and I'm happy.
They're like, you're an easy one to take care of. So
yeah.
There is a game show. I'm going back to the entertainment thing. There's a game show that I can't wait for next week because I think you would probably get a kick out of this one with Nick, maybe. And it's called Generations. Did you see? Have you heard about this? By any
No,
chance?
I haven't.
So it's kind of like a quiz game show, but where they ask. So it would be like you and Nick, or like me and Andrew, our oldest, and then they ask him like generation questions, like pop culture generations from your time. So he's got to answer like, I don't know, 80s, 90s type of questions.
Okay.
And then they ask you questions from like what's going on now.
So we know how this is going to go. We're not going to know any of their stuff. They're going to roll our eyes at our stuff. So.
I know, exactly. But I've heard it's super fun. So I'll have to report back on that one. But that's what I'm looking forward to. I think that's like the one entertainment thing we're looking forward to.
One thing Celebrity had, instead of bingo, they had Deal No Deal.
Oh.
With it, so you bought the game cards, and then they'd pick a random person from the audience to come play the game, and then you played along with your game card.
Oh.
It was a lot of fun. People. One person took the deal. One person ended with $800. One person got $20 in the end. So it was kind of a different than bingo. It was kind of fun.
Yeah, some different games there. Hopefully Disney will up their game on that as well. Well, kind of thinking back on this cruise, was there anything else that we didn't touch on? That any other changes that you noticed as far as COVID? Things good or bad?
So the only other thing, and I listened to Chris on his recap of the Wonder, and that was Brunch at Palo. I was a little disappointed with Brunch at Palo. I mean, it was still delicious and it was great, but one of the things I always enjoy is all the little desserts they have.
Mm-hmm.
And now they just have 3 or 4 different desserts you can order. And so I hope that comes back eventually. But I will tell him I actually got the waffle, but he said he had Cool Whip. I had real cream actually. So maybe the Wonder didn't get the ingredients they needed.
They're skipping out with us out on the West Coast, huh?
Yeah, and I know I'm a Cool Whip fan because I grew up with it. My wife always laughs at me because I think it's good. So I know what Cool Whip tastes like, and I had real cream on the Fantasy.
Well, I'll let him know. Well, I'm sure he's going to hear this, so he's going to be jealous about that. That's for sure. So that was obviously a deal breaker for him as far as Palo Brunch went.
I mean, otherwise everything was great, and it actually ended up being like more food than I normally eat because they had us order, a starter basically, and then so I think we started off with the meats, and then I had a waffle, and then I ended up with a calzone, and then like dessert. It was like way more food than I ever would have ate originally there. The day we did go to Palo, we actually went with two fans of your show that we met ahead of time. The DCL mom and the DCL dad actually joined us for brunch that day. So it's kind of fun to connect with them and talk about your show and stuff like that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. It's fun. That's what's becoming part of this for me. And I think it is for you too, as far as, getting to meet other people, other, fellow cruisers or Disney fans or things like that. And just being able to we got to spend time with Brian and Sam on our trip and had a couple of drinks with them up in the Cadillac Lounge. And it was just kind of fun to connect and spend some time with people that kind of enjoy the same things you do.
Yeah, we also met Michelle and Doug McKnight at Disney World from Rope Drop Radio the night before we sailed, and had drinks with them, spent a couple hours when it was really fun.
You guys had a great picture together too. Yeah. So. Well, anything else about this cruise, Chris? Disembarkation process or anything that we haven't talked about?
Overall, it was so great to be back on Disney Cruise Line. It felt like home. It was great to see, cast members we know and, known over the years. The COVID restrictions weren't that bad. I mean, we're all used to having to wear masks sometimes, so that it is what it is. And we had a great time. And disembarking, I told the concierge host, we have an early flight. I want to be the first one off the ship. So I was actually the second one off the ship. And we were at MCO at our gate at 8:15 in the morning.
Wow. Did you guys even eat that morning then? Or
I grabbed the lounge opens at 6:30. So I went and grabbed some stuff, took it back to our room. And we left the room at 7:05, went straight to the lounge, and they have the express thing to make the elevator go straight down. And we were at the airport for our 10 o'clock flight, and walking by the direct flight to San Francisco that was boarding at the time, I was like, our luggage never would have made it, but we could have got on this flight and made a direct flight home.
And then as luck had it, you had a bumpy ride through Denver too.
Yeah, Denver was not landing. It was not fun landing in Denver or taking off for that.
Man, I don't know what's been going on with Denver, but it's been like seriously bumpy all winter or this fall, I guess, going into, has winter started yet? I'm not even sure. It's not officially winter yet, but we're getting there. Well, okay. So you did a show with Wes over in the DCL Dude, kind of comparing and contrasting, what you like better between Royal Celebrity and Disney. Now that you've been back on the Disney fantasy, we don't have to go through each one of the ones that he did, but did anything change in your mind? Or, well, first of all, did anything change in your mind as far as, did Disney do anything better than where you kind of ranked him with him?
No, I don't think so. I think it's kind of about the same. It was just the familiarity of Disney kind of has a special place in all our hearts, I think, our Disney Cruise Line fans. But I think my answers are still about the same. I mean, I think Celebrity and Disney are both top-notch cruise lines, and we're huge Celebrity fans now, and I have 3 Celebrity cruises booked through 2024.
Wow. All on the same ship, or where are they going to?
We're doing Australia, a Great Barrier Reef cruise, and I can't remember if it's on the Apex or the Edge. It's the same class of ship, because we're also doing the Panama Canal in 2023, which leaves out Fort Lauderdale, goes to the canal. I believe it goes halfway through or all the way through and turns around and comes back. And then we have a European sailing booked that does Norway and Ireland.
That's going to be great.
And one thing about, sailing concierge with Disney, you got to immediately put down, I think it's almost like a 20% deposit. With Celebrity, it's like $400 a person or something. And then the final payment's due like 100 days out or whatever. So it's like, if all 3 of these happen, great. One might not happen, then I'll just move it. It's easy enough. I don't have a bunch of money tied up.
Ireland and Norway sounds great. Have you been to Australia before?
No, because the flight's a long flight, but we had so much fun on the Celebrity Edge. It's like I could do it for this.
Mm-hmm. The good thing about flying, I will say this, the good thing about flying down to Australia, it's a long flight, but there's something about the time zones where it's not as bad as like going to Europe. Like you get in sync a lot faster going to Australia.
That'd be nice. Because when we went to Europe on the Disney Magic a couple of years ago, I was so screwed up for the whole time we were there. I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning completely exhausted. wide awake.
Yeah. I think I did the same thing too the whole time we were there. Like, yeah. So I think that's going to be a great, how long is that one that goes?
The 10 or 11
Australia,
nights.
10 or 11, and it goes to the Great Barrier Reef.
Yeah.
New Zealand also?
No. So they have several cruises in those few months, and some do the Great Barrier Reef, like 8 stops. Some go to New Zealand, do stops there, and then some depart New Zealand and go back to Sydney. It's the one we picked the time frame that just the Great Barrier Reef worked out better for us.
Oh, you're gonna love that. Anawik and I went there for our honeymoon up in Port Douglas, which is just off the Great Barrier Reef, and it's just such a beautiful area of the world.
So all the pictures of all the port stops, it's like just beautiful sandy beaches. It's like, this is right up my alley.
Yeah, it is. It's like, yeah, the Australian version of the Caribbean. It's beautiful up there. So, and I think that's what's cool about some of these other cruise lines as well, is you've got a lot more destinations to choose from.
I'm kind of almost been sheltered because I've only been looking at Disney all these years and realizing, well, I could do this and I could do this. And it kind of opened my eyes to a lot more stuff. And it's like, it's 100% Disney's fault because they weren't telling us what was going on. So I ended up on these other ships. And I'll admit, when I found out the Fantasy was going to sail in September, because we originally had a September 18th sailing booked, I had a little bit of FOMO. I'm like, why did I, change my sailing? And they're getting a double dip now. I am so glad we ended up on Celebrity. We had the time of our lives. It was one of the best trips we've ever had. Would
you say Celebrity, your kids are a little bit older, like mine are starting to get older too. Do you think it's good for older kids, or is it better just for you and your wife? What's your thoughts?
So I've been thinking about this quite a bit because we have a back-to-back on the Dream for New Year's, and there was a Celebrity sailing the same time. I was almost considering jumping ship, pun intended. And what stopped me was my daughter's 19, and I realized Disney has the 18 to 20 club or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
When we were in the Celebrity, I think younger kids would like it. I think teenagers would like it. And then maybe older high school kids and my daughter's age might not like it as much. For the younger kids, I saw that, I forget what the area was called, but it was an incredible looking area for the kids to go. And then looking at their, I won't call it the Navigator, it's called something else, but their stuff for like the kids every day, they had a lot of cool activities like these STEM projects and stuff. And I was like, I think some 13, 14-year-old kids might like this better.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the little kids are all going to like Disney and the characters because that's what they see on TV. That's what they see in the parks. I think a 13 to 17-year-old kid might like Celebrity better.
I like that idea. I mean, yeah, all kids are a little bit different. I know Nick's pretty kind of a curious kid. Alex, our youngest, he loves STEM. And if they had like some kind of STEM projects where they're working on like some kind of car or what can I say it? The things that fly. I don't know if they'd have
like a drone or something.
Yeah, like a drone or something like that. If they're doing some like activities like that, rather than just the video games that are available on Disney, I think he would love that. Yeah, and they had. So I have the thing here. It's called the Daily Planner, their Navigator, and it had, it lists all these different STEM projects. And they had like video game things. They would have movie things like, appropriate movies for them and stuff. And I thought, if I was a teenager, I think I would really like this ship. Mm-hmm.
That being said, our sailing had 800 people and there were 6 kids total. I talked to one day in the elevator on the Celebrity sailing. There was maybe a 3 or 4-year-old kid. And he was there with his mom. And I said, "Are you having a good time?" He said, "Yeah." I go, "How's it like the kids area?" And she goes, "He loves it. It's almost one-on-one. He's going to be in tears when he has to leave these counselors." So, and he was loving it.
Well, that says a lot about Celebrity and the counselors then too. Well, before we finish up today, I wanted to ask you just a couple questions about Disneyland. And Disneyland's, I know, near and dear to your heart. You love talking about Disneyland as well. You guys had an opportunity to go down there. Just want to get your overall thoughts of being back in Disneyland and kind of what the crowds are like right now.
So we were there on Saturday, like October 15th or 14th. I remember what day it was, and it was packed. It was like a Christmas vacation type crowd. We had a good time, but I know we had no reservations for dinner, and we were downtown Disney the first night we were there. And at 7:30, we put our name in 5 different restaurants. And at 8:45, we finally got a call back at 1. So slammed. But we had a great time. We were there for the Halloween stuff. It was fun to see the Halloween. We did the new Web Slingers ride.
Yeah, what'd you think of that? That one, that's a cool.
It was fun. I mean,
yeah.
It's similar to Toy Story, obviously. I think I still prefer Toy Story, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm a huge Marvel fan. I thought it was cool. The land was cool, but it's nothing to write home about, but it was a fun new ride.
What about getting? I know Tower of Terror, not Tower of Terror.
Mission Breakout
is like one of your favorite. Was it tough to get on that?
No, it wasn't bad. And then it had Monsters After Dark, so it switched over at 3:00 in the afternoon. So we got to see both versions of it, and we loved both. So that was a lot of fun.
We didn't do that like the last time we were down there, and we're gonna miss it. They don't do anything for Christmas, do they? They don't.
No, it's just Christmas. The Monsters After Dark, and it was kind of just thrown together the first year, real quick, and it's a pretty decent change to the ride, and we really enjoy it.
I wish we would have done that. I can't wait to get back on Mission Breakout also, because I think that's.
Besides Rise of Resistance, I think Mission Breakout's my favorite ride. I think now that's a little easier to get on Rise, but before it's like Mission Breakout was always much like it's such a hassle or a stressful thing trying to get a boarding group, and it's like take some of the fun out of it.
Right. What about Haunted Mansion? Do you like the Christmas overlay?
Yeah, we love the Christmas overlay. And it's funny because up until 3 or 4 years ago, my son Nicholas didn't realize it didn't have it because we always went in the fall.
That's awesome.
The first time we went this summer, he's like, "Oh, it's not haunted. It doesn't. It's not Night Before Christmas all the time." I'm like, no, it's just normal, kind of like Disney World. We're like, oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, because we went on September, October, or November, and so it's always changed over by then.
Do you have a favorite between Disney World and Disneyland?
Disney World. I just like the architecture of their Haunted Mansion. Like if I was like to build a house someday with no expense spared, it would look like that.
The conservatory in the back. And stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Do you read it all?
Yes.
Have you read Boundless Realms?
No, I haven't.
I'm halfway through this book. When I get it done, I'm going to send it down to you. It's all about the Haunted Mansion and kind of like he breaks apart like each like sequence as you kind of go through it. It's really good. So I know you're a big Haunted Mansion fan.
No,
so.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll send it down to you when I get done. Well, anything else about Disneyland stand out to you guys being other than good to be back there as well, I'm sure.
No, it was, yeah. We've been there. We went there in May, like 3 weeks after it opened, and so much had changed since then. It felt a lot more normal in October, but it was very crowded. They have a little patience, but it was a good time. And we love the Halloween decorations. And we were going to try to get down there to see the Christmas decorations. And I don't think it's going to work out this year. So maybe next year.
That's too bad. We're going down there the first week of December just to see the Christmas decorations.
So I actually had reservations for the first weekend of December. And then about a month ago, I got an email from my marketing person that saved the date for our Christmas party. And I was like, we couldn't wait one more year to go back to having the Christmas parties again.
No, wait a minute, but there's like too many COVID restrictions. I don't think we should do this year.
Yeah. So, yeah, but that's good. My employees love it. So it's good. It's good to have some normalcy back there and to have our Christmas party. But so it's going to make us not be able to go down there because the next weekend we already have something else. And then we leave to go on the back-to-back on the Dream December 26th. So we have a busy December already. That'll
be a good way to kind of end off the Christmas season, being back in the back-to-back in the Dream. Does that go over New Year's?
Yes. Okay. So the 4-night disembarks on New Year's Eve. And so the 3-night starts on New Year's Eve. I tried we booked this, 14, 15 months ago, whenever it came out. And I was like trying to sell the Christmas thing. It was just sail over Christmas because we sailed over Thanksgiving and everybody loved it. But the kids are like, no, we want to be home for Christmas. I'm like, okay, I get it. So this one we leave the day after Christmas. So Lisa's not really thrilled about having Christmas dinner here and then leaving at 8:00 the next morning to go catch a flight.
She's like, we're doing takeout this year. We're ordering out. Okay, one last question. Well, two last questions, but one last question. I know you've been on this will come out after we probably get back, but I know you've been on a Thanksgiving cruise. Do we get the turkey in the main dining rooms, or because I know that you had an opinion on that? I think
so. The turkey is awesome. I think it's called like General Buford's turkey or Uncle Buford's turkey or something. Uh-huh. It's actually really good. Randomly, when we were in the Mediterranean in Rapunzel's one night, they had the same menu. I'm like,
really?
They have this turkey. Give me the turkey. It was good.
But didn't you try something else? Or was there like something? Am I drawing a blank on that?
So they gave me a steak with my turkey too. I ordered a steak on the side.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
And then they have a dessert. It's like a deconstructed, like sugar-free apple dessert, which is one of the best desserts I've ever had on Disney Cruise.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, we loved it. It's like an apple cinnamon, but it's like sugar-free or something. I don't remember, but it's really good.
All right. Well, we're looking forward.
The turkey's good, so yeah. But there's no pumpkin pie.
That's what it was. Okay, yes. That's what it was. I knew there was like an angle to the Thanksgiving dinner.
There's no pumpkin pie. I'm like, I remember on the second time we're on for Thanksgiving, I said something to the concierge. I go, how could they not? And she was like, what do you mean they don't have pumpkin pie? I'm like, they don't have pumpkin pie. And so she had to make one for us that night, and we had pumpkin pie. Oh. But apparently they have pumpkin pie in Cabanas on day one a lot of times on all the sailings, but we never go to Cabanas on embarkation day. So they have the ingredients to make the pumpkin pie. They don't make the pumpkin pie.
On Thanksgiving of all times, too,
yeah,
right?
It's odd, yeah. But yeah. I remember when we were on there for last Thanksgiving in 2019, they brought us, slices of pumpkin pie. And I see the people on the table next to us looking at us like, where did they get pumpkin pie? I didn't see that on the menu. There, several people are like looking at us.
Yeah, people are getting their pitchforks out. And
yeah,
like, we want the pumpkin pie. So, I was just at Costco yesterday. I think those pumpkin pies are so big at Costco, they'd only need to buy like about 5 of them, and they could serve the whole ship. So
we're fans of the Costco apple and pumpkin pie.
So are we. Well, Annawake's she's pretty happy to not have to be cooking Thanksgiving dinner this year. So we'll have to report back on that. Looking forward to the.
I gotta say, the first time we went for Thanksgiving, it was kind of like, man, this is gonna be weird not being home for Thanksgiving. And when we got back, at that point, Lisa said this was the best cruise she'd been on.
Really?
And Alaska trumped it a year later, but we just had a great time at Thanksgiving on the ship. So I think you guys will love it.
Oh, man. Well, we're looking forward to it. Well, Chris, it's always fun to catch up with you. Thanks for doing this today. And so happy for you guys to get back on the Fantasy. So the back-to-back on the Dream's your next one for you guys?
Yes, we have back-to-back on the Dream. And then Lisa and I for New Orleans on the Wonder. And then we will see you guys in the Greek Isle.
Yeah, looking forward to that one. And I think you guys are either getting off or getting on right after we get off the one on the Wonder in New Orleans.
So we're
on the 14th.
Are you on the 6th night?
No, we're on a 4 night.
Okay, so we had the 6th night booked, and then when they took away Castaway and wanted to give me a $300 credit, I canceled it, and it actually worked out better because Nicholas had some college 2 years going on, and so we're on I think we're like all we pushed out to the 28th now or something.
Okay, yeah, we're going for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
So
I think you're the 4 night before the 6th night. And then there's 2 4 nights after that.
That's why I thought they were pretty close on that one.
Originally we were, but yeah, then we ended up changing it. And it just actually the date worked out better for us. And we're going to spend an extra night in New Orleans. So it's kind of a win for us. And randomly, it's the exact same cruise was the last cruise we took before COVID. So it's kind of like, oh, it kind of works out then.
Well, let's hope it doesn't bring another pandemic on us afterwards. But looking forward to seeing you guys over the Mediterranean as well. I think that Greek one's going to be a lot of fun. Well, Chris, thank you so much for doing this. It's always fun to catch up with you. I know if people want to follow you and your adventures, they can follow you along on Twitter. I'll let you throw that out there.
Yeah, so I'm Chris and Concierge. I don't know. Is it Chris _magic_DSL? I believe.
Now that I say that, I got to look it up because I'm just.
It's Chris _magic_DCL.
Yeah, so make sure you give Chris a follow. He's always posting a lot of fun pictures of his cruises, their vacations, and especially this time of year as your house gets decorated for Christmas.
I took Halloween down before our cruise, and the last 4 nights, every night after work, I've been feverishly working out there in the dark, trying to get everything changed over to full-blown Christmas. So
yeah, you need to get a couple of those workers from Disneyland to come where they do it over in the 24-hour period or the 12-hour period, I guess, at the evening. So, well, once again, Chris, thank you so much for being such a good friend of our show. Thank you so much for doing this show with us today. All the best to you and your family during the holiday season, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
To you too, and thanks for having me on again. I appreciate it.
Definitely. Cheers. We'll talk to you soon, Chris.
All right.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.